Hello everyone, welcome back to my podcast. I'm your host Destiny Meares, and today we are talking about Wassailu Muhammad Jeku, also known by his stage name Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco is an American rapper, record producer, entrepreneur, activist, and poet. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and the best thing about Lupe, the reason I'm speaking to you about him is because Lupe is a Thornton alumni. Wassailu, born February 16, 1982, grew up with his mom and dad, but they got divorced when he was young, so he stayed with his father the majority of the time. Despite his difficult upbringing, Lupe said he was a very educated child because of his parents, who were both diverse people who had different interests, which let Lupe have exposure to the world outside his neighborhood. While attending Thornton, he joined the chess club and the academic decathlon, and he was a part of the theater tech team. His mother described him by saying, "He was a great-spirited child, smart and a bit complex. He kind of was a loner. He didn't hang with a lot of people. He always had the glasses, always had a book bag over his shoulder and some type of writing tablet." At first, Lupe disliked hip-hop music for its crudity and preferred to listen to jazz. He idolized clarinet player Benny Goodman. His struggle to learn to play an instrument led him to create poetry instead, and that led him to his interest in lyrical aspects of music. During high school, Lupe became friends with a local gang member named Bishop G because of their similar taste in music. Lupe's father allowed him and Bishop to make mixtapes in their basement, and the two gained fame at Thornton for their music. However, they were kicked off stage during their first performance because their eccentric musical style was not embraced by the hip-hop community. Early in his career, he went by stage names Little Lou and Lou the Underdog. Growing up, Fiasco was given the nickname Lou, the last part of his first name, by his mother. Lupe is an extension of that nickname, which he borrowed from a friend from high school. Fiasco is the reference to the Firm song Firm Fiasco. The rapper liked the way it looked on paper. He also said of his name, "You know how rappers always have names like MC Terrors, like they're terrorizing other rappers? I knew Fiasco meant a great disaster, or something like that, but I didn't realize that the person named Fiasco would be a disaster, or that you should be calling other MCs Fiascos, not yourself." It kind of humbled me in a sense. It taught me like, yo, stop rushing, or you're gonna have some fiascos. When Lupe was 18, he began creating music as a solo artist in his father's basement, even though his parents were not keen on having their son be a rapper. He looked in flea markets and secondhand stores where he was able to find an old mixing board and a record player, stacks of vinyl records and mic stands. At 19, Lupe joined a group called The Pack, which was influenced by other California gangster rappers such as Spice One and Ice Cube. The Pack signed to Epic Records and released one single before splitting up. Fiasco later described the experience saying, "We had a song out about cocaine, guns, and women, and I would go to the record store and look at it and think, what are you doing? I felt like a hypocrite. I was acting like this rapper who would never be judged, and I had to destroy that guy. Because what Lupe Fiasco says on this microphone is going to come back to Wassailu Jeku. When the music cuts off, you have to go home and live with what you say." After turning away from gangster rap, he developed a greater appreciation of the lyricism of Jay-Z and Nas. Although without a group for the first time, Lupe continued to record music. One of these first self-recorded tracks was Could Have Been, which described the career options he could have pursued had he not begun rapping.
If I wasn't rapping, I'd probably be wrestling, hand-to-hand grappling, on the corner of Madison, or real estating, trying to sell you a mansion, or rollerblading, doing 360 flash spins, or I'd probably be flipping the burger, attempting to murder, paralyzed, sipping on Gerber. I could be working at Joe's, chain snatching, jerking your jewels, homeless, working for food. I might be cleaning your pole, teaching your school.
Lupe later signed to a solo deal with Artista Records, but was dropped when President and CEO L.A. Reid was fired. During his short tenure at Artista, he met Jay-Z, who was the president of Def Jam Records at the time. Jay-Z referred to him as a breath of fresh air, saying that he reminded him of a younger version of himself. Jay-Z later helped him get a record deal at Atlantic Records, and after that, Lupe just got bigger and bigger. Jay-Z assisted him in production of his debut album, Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor. The title of the album is a reference to the food and liquor stores common in Chicago. Lupe explained, saying, "The store is where everything is at. Food to me represents growth and progression. You eat food and you get strength. You need it to live. Liquor is not a necessity. It is a want. It destroys you. It breaks you down. I can see why it's prohibited in Islam. I've always felt like liquor represented the bad, the food represents the good, and everyone is made up a little bit of both." Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor was officially released on September 19, 2006. The album featured production from Jay-Z, Kanye West, The Neptunes, Prolific, and others. The record spawned the singles Kick Push, I Gotcha, and Daydreamin', featuring Jill Scott.
Check it out, First got it when he was 6, didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped. Landed on his hip and busted his lip. For a week he had to talk with a lisp like this. Now we can end the story right here, but shorty didn't quit, it was something in the air. Yeah, he said it was something so appealing, he couldn't fight the feeling, something about it. He knew he couldn't doubt it, couldn't understand it. Branded, since the first kick flip he landed. They call me Lupe, I be a new day. They wanna smell like me, they want my bouquet, but they can't, they accent it like the UK. Turn that Uday Lupe to Pepe Le Pew spray, flagrantly fragrant and they can't escape it. My perfume pursued them everywhere that they went. You don't wanna love me.
I dream of you amid the flowers for a couple of hours. Such a beautiful day.
As a spy from behind my giant robot's eyes, I keep him happy cause I might fall out if he cries. Scared of heights so I might pass out if he flies. Keep him on autopilot cause I can't drive. Room enough for one, I tell my homies they can't ride unless me sitting on the shoulders, but that's way too high. Let's try not to step on the children. The news cameras filming this walking project building.
The critical lauded album was later nominated for 3 Grammy Awards, including Best Rap Album. Fiasco won Best Urban Alternative Performance for Daydreamin'. In the same year, he was voted by GQ magazine as the Breakout Man of the Year. He also received 4 BET Hip Hop Award nominations. "The cool is built on a lot of loss," says Lupe. At then 25 stated. His father, aunt, and friend all died during the making of this album, and his business partner was sent to jail on drug charges. "It was a lot of tragedy coming into this album," he says. "In the midst of a lot of success, I was so busy, I didn't have time to properly mourn. Instead, music became his outlet. Fighters was inspired by his lost loved ones."
Little boy, is it cars, is it girls, is it my life, the world?
Or is it something they could never believe? Or is it something you could never achieve? Is it beyond your means? Is it inside your dreams? Can it never come out cause it's scared to, unprepared to worry about the words of the people it's weird to?
"I knew I had to write it, but I got all choked up," says Lupe. Talking to yourself, having some therapy with yourself, it is the hardest record to write because of the emotions. This wound is so fresh, I couldn't let my little sisters hear the song. It would come on in the car and I would just cut it off. It's like a void. Lupe says of life without his father. "Some days it's kind of whatever. Other days, memory is motivation. My mom says I still ain't comfortable with it. I don't know if it is ever meant to be something that goes away." Lupe then came out with other albums later on, such as Lasers, Tetsu and Youth, Drogas and Drogas Light, and Skulls. He also came out with a 3-part television documentary, which is a tribute to his late father, which shows Lupe going to Asia and studying more about martial arts. Lupe now is living a nice life being an activist who tries to help underprivileged and impoverished communities. His continued efforts to elevate community engagement can be seen through the myriad of movements that he has co-founded and supported. As the co-founder and co-owner of community initiatives such as We Are Mural, the Neighborhood Setup Fund, Society of Spoken Art, and Studio SV, Lupe proves that he is more than just a mouthpiece for change, but a committed facilitator of intellectual community discourse and outreach. I wonder what will happen with Lupe next. He has done so many bright things, and I believe that his future will continue to be bright. I'm your host, Destiny Meares. Thank you for listening to my 10-minute podcast. This is the longest one I've ever made, and I hope you made it through it. Tune in next time and when we talk about Kanye West and all his controversies. I'm Destiny, and I'm signing off.